Hi, I'm Lauren Murvine, and I've been trying to think about how to do my introduction here for a while. I've been kind of putting this whole thing off, even though I've known I really wanted to be a part of it. So I thought I would share some of the different hats I've worn in the past and hats that I'm wearing now. So I was a 2001 Smithville High School graduate. I was a Malone College graduate. I have been a cooking teacher, phys ed teacher, health teacher, yearbook advisor, coach, a personal trainer, and I'm now a mom, and I'm a wife, and a daughter, and a friend, and a small business owner, and a member at Crown Hill Mennonite Church. And those are all things that people might know about me or see or understand when they talk to me, but underneath all of that, and what I'm going to share about next, is that I am a survivor of a very tremendous loss and heavy grief. And I'm also beginning to see that my life and the way things have unfolded are really an example of God's healing and God's restoration. So it just dawned on me that in my first video, I was supposed to share my quote, and I forgot to do that. So I'm a little off format here. I'm also live from our garage because there's good light in here, and I thought I could get away from my children for a little bit. So bear with me. My quote I want to share is from my grandma Ramsire, and it is, "I can and I will with God's help." So the question that was posed, what's the hardest thing that you've ever had to go through? And that is really a pop-up for me, because there's one really hard thing that stands out in my life so far. And it just so happens that the end of May will be the 20th anniversary of this really hard thing. So it's been on my mind to share this and to share it right now, kind of while this anniversary is coming up. We'll go back in time here. In May of 2004, I had just finished my third year at Malone College. I had made wonderful friends there, and I had pretty happy, smooth, easy life up until that year. I had my major all locked down and was excited to be a teacher after college. And my high school sweetheart, Nate Dilliard, was there with me, also an education major. And we were really in the midst of making plans for our summer, but also making plans for our senior year of college and what life would bring after that. And we were excited about an engagement and our future and our family. At that point, we had been dating for about 4.5 years. So it was a really serious dating relationship. We weren't yet engaged, but we were really on that path and really serious about it and just getting so excited. So on Memorial Day, May 31st of 2004, I headed up to Canton with my mom in our family's minivan to go up to the Strip to buy some summertime clothes and just have a girls' day. And Nate was back at home with his family. They were getting the house ready for his brother Andrew's graduation party that was going to be in the next couple of weeks. And I just remember having the happiest day with my mom, and we picked out a dress for a wedding that was going to be that summer that we were attending in the family. And I got my Old Navy flip-flops with just thoughts of like all the fun I was going to have that summer and what the next year would bring. And that afternoon, we came home after lunch out there, and I was driving the minivan home, and we pulled down by the garage area of our farmhouse, and my dad was standing on the cement, and I could tell that something was horribly wrong. I thought maybe like the chicken barn had burned down or something was wrong. And I stopped in the driveway and rolled down the window. And my dad just had a look on his face that I'd never seen before. And he said, "Lauren, Nate was in an accident today and he didn't make it." And that news changed everything. It rocked my faith. It changed the course of my whole future. It made me really question what I knew about God and his love and his plans. It's just undescribable for somebody to be alive and a part of your life and a part of your thoughts for the future, and then suddenly to be gone is just, it still doesn't seem like that really happened to me sometimes. So where from there? This is something that I haven't really shared before about all of this. But in the months and weeks that led up to that horrible moment, there were 2 times that God really spoke to me in a different way that I had never felt before. I can remember where I was in my dorm room, springtime. It was probably April. It was around Easter. I woke up in my dorm room from a dead sleep, and I woke up knowing that God wanted me to pray that I could have an open heart about Nate, which is really kind of strange for me to say out loud and share on something so public like this, because, that wasn't something that I shared at the time that happened. And it certainly wasn't something that felt appropriate to share right after a sudden loss. But I awoke knowing that I needed to pray that. It was in April, and it was again at the beginning of May. It was about 2 weeks prior to the accident. I woke up wide awake in the middle of the night, and I had a knowing that God wanted me to pray that. And I thought, maybe that our relationship was supposed to end or something wasn't supposed to work out. And I never said anything. I did pray that, and I went on with life. So that did not take away my grief. That did not make anything hurt any less or make the years that followed that time. It didn't make that deep sadness go away. But it did give me a bit of an assurance of God's presence during that time. And I know in tragedy, not everyone gets that, but God nudged me, and that was a true thing that I can remember clear as day, even now, 20 years later. So the next part of the question was, how did you make it through? Okay, I decided to go in really quick and make this a 2-parter so I could blow my nose and wipe my eyes after that first part. But this is part 2. How did I make it through my hardest challenge? There were a few things I definitely learned about walking through a hard time, and some things that helped me. So one thing was the different people that had a nudge to come into my life or to support me or stop by or send a note. It seemed like, especially in that first year that followed the accident and in my grief, God sent people at specific times that just picked me up in different tiny ways, like a note in the mail, stopping by with some sweet corn, making a phone call to me. It is like he put it on their heart and in their mind to come and talk to me or encourage me at just the right time. So that's something that I don't take lightly now when somebody springs to mind that I know well, or maybe I just met, that I might need to encourage or cheer their day. I really try to hear that, because I think God lines those people up, and sometimes he sends us to go be that for other people. So those little moments carried me. Also, I found myself during that time of grief, those couple hardest years right after Nate's accident, I found myself remembering my mom's WCRF Johnny Erickson Tata that she would have on in the bathroom when I was little, getting ready for school and for church. And if you don't know who Joni Eareckson Tada is, she is a paraplegic that puts paintbrushes in her teeth and creates these beautiful paintings. And she had a radio spot on WCRF where she would do a little devotion or something encouraging. And for some reason, Joni Eareckson Tada really was an inspiration during my hard time. Like, if this woman can be painting with her teeth, certainly 21-year-old me can survive this grief. I have all my limbs. I hopefully have a good future ahead of me. I want to handle this like Joni Eareckson Tada handled her wheelchair, which was with a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude. So I did learn if I could keep myself in a place of gratitude. Now, not gratitude in place of the grief. I definitely felt all that sadness, and I had a really wise Christian counselor tell me, who I was talking to through some of this. She said, just let yourself be 100% where you are when you are there. So if you feel really sad, Lauren, let yourself go ahead and be sad. If you feel happy for a couple minutes because you're, with your family, that's okay too. Just let yourself feel and be where you are. So I was definitely letting myself feel that sadness, and I still feel sadness as I'm still processing this big loss of a friend in my past. But paired with that, when I felt sad, and after I let those big emotions out and I worked through that with God, I would go back to what was true about the moment. Who was there with me still that loved me? What I could be grateful for, what was left intact, what was true about God, what was good about the moment. And so if I could pair my grief with gratitude, I could survive. I learned that. Just the power of being thankful and finding things to be thankful for, even if it feels like everything is lost. There's always something to look at. So those visitors that came, one of the visitors that came was my grandma Ramsire, and she's the one, she lost her husband when they were in their 60s. And I just asked her, how did you do it when you lost grandpa? And she said, Lauren, I would tell myself I can and I will with God's help. And so those are words that I try to live by, and I've kind of made my own rendition of that, my own personal quote, which is, bad things may happen to me, but I refuse to have a bad life. So kind of putting a little fire behind my joy that, you know what, bad things are going to come, but there will always be good. My life is good. My God is good. There are always still good things there, and I'm going to see that, and I'm going to choose to have a good life no matter what bad thing comes my way. So, that is not always easy to feel that way, but I try to choose to see things that way and to focus on the good. So I learned gratitude. I learned the power of people showing up. For me, I had some friends at college when I returned to Malone that were just absolute angels. I had a friend that was my Monday, Wednesday, Friday jogging buddy, and my Tuesday, Thursday jogging buddy. And these were people that were also RAs on staff at Malone, that were peers. We were all students, but they would come to my door each morning that last year of college that I went to finish. One of my friends would be at my door, and I'd get my tennis shoes on and we would go on a run, and they would pray with me in the morning. So boy, when I think about that, to be a college student that got up Monday, Wednesday, Friday to make sure that your grieving friend got out of bed and to go running with her and pray with her, like, wow, that really carried me, as did my other close friends that just trudged through that loss with me. So in those ways, I just kind of put one foot in front of the other. I also learned that it's not good really to look too far out into the future, because God gives us grace for today. His mercies are new every morning. And if I, in that grief time, look too far out ahead and worry too far in the future. It was just overwhelming. And I learned that I'm not supposed to be looking out there because I don't have grace for those days yet. God is giving me grace and a plan in place for me to make it through today. So I learned to dial back and to go one day at a time, like a counselor would tell you to. So then I said at the beginning of my first video that I am a testament to surviving a sudden loss, but I'm also seeing, we're at the 20-year mark, God's tremendous restoration in my life. As I reflect this year and think about all this time that has passed, there is a renewed wave of sadness, but there's also this feeling of, wow, look at all the things I was afraid of were lost forever, like having a family, having a husband who loved me, having joy in, coming home to my parents' house where I heard this terrible news. I just had so many fears in the year that followed this accident. What would my life be? What if my life from here on out, what if the best days are over? But now I'm reflecting back to see, look at what has been restored. So I did bring a show and tell for this. Remember those flip-flops I bought on May 31st, 2004? Kind of gross, kind of weird. Here's why I kept them. I remember being so excited in that Old Navy store of all the fun and the happiness that was going to happen in those silly flip-flops. There were a lot of things from that day that I threw in the trash because they were too hard for me to think about. The clothes I was wearing when I got the news, and some of the other things just had bad memories attached. But I was determined that those flip-flops that I bought from Old Navy in 2004, for some reason I kept those babies, and I decided I was going to make some good memories in those things. I was going to keep them till my good life came back around. So, and we're getting a visitor at just the right time in this video. So I wore those flip-flops actually in my hospital room when I gave birth to his big sister Remy and to Parker, who's here with me now. I have to finish a video. Can you wait on me for a minute and I'll be right with you? So God has restored my life. I have 2 happy, healthy kids. I have an awesome husband. Meeting him and our story is another full circle, awesome story. There was one point in my life that going to weddings was really, really hard. I cried in the bathroom at more weddings than I would like to admit because it was just heartbreaking to think that might not be part of God's plan for me. But here I am, not only married with 2 happy, beautiful kids, but my small business, one of my small businesses, Walnut Ridge Wedding Rentals, it's a wedding business. I go to 50 weddings a year and help the bride have her happy, beautiful day, and it is a total joy. The other part of the restoration that is just crazy to me, the other business that my husband and I are launching actually this spring.
Hey, Mama, can I have water?
Yes. In just a minute. The other business that my husband and I are launching this spring is Walnut Ridge Farm, Ohio. So anyone who would like to go on Facebook and follow Walnut Ridge Farm, Ohio, we're a brand new baby business. We are a peony farm, and we have planted 660 peony plants. We planted them 3 years ago. Believe it or not, we planted them not knowing exactly when they would bloom here in Ohio and on the bit of land that they are on, but they are going to give their first mature crop of blooms right around Memorial Day weekend of this year. So the 20th anniversary of things going horribly wrong is going to be full of flowers from 660 peony plants right here at the farmhouse. We bought my family's farmhouse where I got this terrible news. And now I draw with sidewalk chalk with my 2 beautiful kids on the spot where I heard the worst news of my life. So all that to say, what a restoration. God was watching over me the whole time, as he watches over and cares for each one of us. So that's my story, and thank you for listening this long in my garage with my interruptions, and that's my story. Thanks for listening.